Welcome to another episode of The Truth About Executive Protection. What I want to talk about is vehicle tactics in protective operations and law enforcement. So there's this big saying, hey guys, everyone talks about the macro, the car is a bullet magnet, get away, blah, 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 blah. Well, there's also a saying, hey, don't teach me how to die around a vehicle, teach me how to survive. For those of us in the protection industry and or law enforcement, when you're forced to fight from and around that vehicle, and you got to define your SOPs where everyone just talks about an ambush. What if it's indiscriminate fire? What if you're responding to a team that is being ambushed or another law enforcement officer? But before we even get in that, we got to break it down into the micro. I want to talk about the micro, and that's what I teach in our vehicle packages, vehicle tactics packages. So I break it down to the bare bottom. How's your vehicle set up? Are you armed? Do you have long guns? Are they stored up front and the back? Are there no long guns? When you're traveling, what equipment do you have in the back? Is that stuff strapped down so God forbid you roll that vehicle, you don't have all this equipment bouncing around, hitting everyone in the head and killing your client because you got a toolbox or an ammo case, flapping around. So there's that baseline. Then I talk about the different configurations of setting up your seatbelt for operating in a protective role, non-permissive environment, and or if your only sidearm, the only thing that you have access to is that sidearm on you, and how do you set up that seatbelt so the seatbelt monster doesn't get you under that stressful moment. Then when we people talk about shooting through the windshield, talk about shooting through the V-notch. Okay, hey, that's fine. But what I want to talk about is those micro steps where I've known guys that do wear armor, are working in non-permissive environments, that have an extra 100 pounds worth of gear, blowing out knees, rolling knees, just trying to get out of the vehicle. So we talk about those steps of from engagement to releasing that seatbelt. That's why we have different configurations how we set up that seatbelt, because the seatbelt monster will get you, man. So law enforcement, yeah, a lot of time, they respond to a call, they can pull out their seatbelt. In protective operations, if it's an ambush, it's an ambush. We're going to fight our way through while navigating that seatbelt out if we have to break contact. Now, when we talk about breaking contact to communication, as we're getting out of the car, we still have a client. Who's covering? Who's designating our rally point, our hard point? Hey, hard cover, building 3 o'clock, 75 meters. Who's covering? Who's grabbing the client? Who's grabbing the med bags, the go bags? And, there's a lot of times too when we're working in Pakistan, our cars were very low pro and old. So if we, God forbid, got an ambush, the driver had to know to pull the key out or hit the trunk switch, so we had access to the trunk while our teammates were covering us to get our necessary equipment out and bug out. And when we do bug out, what is our rally point? Where are we going? How are we, now if we do get to a hard point and we have to clear it, how do you do that with the client? How do you do structural clearance and CQB with the client? And there's a lot of things that go into it when you look in protective operations. So this is a tidbit. It's just a rant that I want to get in. So when you really look at training, look at things, look at like what's relevant for you. For us, it's first getting the vehicle set up. 2, how are we running? 3, how do we establish our SOPs when we go from routine to emergency? Who's doing what, etc. So sorry, I can ramble on. Cheers. Talk to you guys soon.